Good morning, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Welcome. This morning we are in Genesis 7. We did 4, 5, 6 last week, and so we talked about Cain and Abel. We talked about, well, if there were only 4 people on earth, who was going to kill Cain? And we talked about, Lilith and Adam's first wife and all that. We talked about, beating your brother over the head with a rock. We talked about all kinds of stuff. And so we worked our way towards Noah, right? And so the father is looking down on earth and he's like, y'all are not acting right. I'm over it. So, Noah, you're cool. You were righteous in the eyes of the Lord. Build an ark. I'm sure y'all have all seen the meme. It wasn't raining when Noah built the ark, right? Referring to preparedness. And that's true. But Noah was also in tune with the Father. Something you might want to think about regarding preparedness. It wasn't raining when Noah built the ark, roger that. But he had divine inspiration to do so. He was directed by the Most High to do so. Once again, we see that righteousness and being at one with the Father to the best of our broken ability pays off. What do you mean righteousness, T? There's only one man that was ever righteous, and his name was Jesus. Righteousness is, following the law, being lawful. Yeah, and Yeshua was righteous. He kept the statutes and commandments of the Father perfectly. He was a righteous man. I feel like I'm hunching. So, do you just call our Savior a man? Yeah, he was. He was also fully God. Fully man, fully God. Chill. Everybody chill. Take a breather. Hydrate. Superhotcoffee.com. So we talked about all that stuff. And so where we left off, Yahweh, the Father, is telling Noah, build this ark. Here's the size. Make it out of gopher wood. Do this, do that, right? Be obedient to me. Make this thing. Fill it full of animals. Okay, so we're going to pick up in 7. We are in the scriptures. Follow along with whatever translation you want. Like I said many a time, we're not going to get mired in translation. I think there are better translations and worse translations, but I think that by and large, the Father has preserved his knowledge for us. We have what we need. Not necessarily what we want, but we have what we need. So, scriptures. 7. And Yahweh said to Noah, come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. Oh, what do you mean a man can't be righteous? Yahweh just told Noah, you're righteous. Let's read that again. 7:1. And Yahweh said to Noah, come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me, capital M, me, in this generation. So the Father, Yahweh, calls Noah righteous. Of all the clean beasts, take with you 7 pairs, a male and his female. And of the beasts that are unclean, 2, a male and his female. So, the clean beasts for eating, right? There's 7 of them. So, what are the clean beasts? We're working our way in that direction, but you can basically go to Leviticus and look at what should I eat, what shouldn't I eat. And so that's going to predominantly be, if you're being Torah observant, that's going to be ruminants. What's a ruminant? Something with a 4-chambered stomach. What's that? Sheep, goats, deer, cows, I think oxen, Google that. Bison, I think, Google that. Grass eaters, things that eat grass and have a 4-chambered stomach, and that split the hoof. So a lot of people say, well, what about, I know it says that swine, you shouldn't eat swine, piggies and stuff, but what about heritage breeds that have a split hoof? Do they have a 4-chambered stomach? Do they chew the cud? Dirty food. Don't eat it. So, without getting into a diatribe on that, you'll see that the clean animals, there's 7 of. 7 is a recurring number in this book, in this word that we have from the Father. And without going on a gigantic tangent, maybe we'll just go on a mini one. In Jewish numerology, now again, sometimes I say things and y'all just take it and run with it. I'm not a numerologist. I'm not purporting that you should be one either. I'm just giving you a look into the mindset of the Jews after this time, okay? Their broken human interpretations of a perfect and unfathomable God, okay? I'm giving you insight, not advice. So the number 7 is like the spiritual number. It's a number of introspection. It's the number of wisdom. It's the number of people that search and that long for. It's the number of like scientists and mathematicians, but also the number of the priesthood and people that are on a quest. And so, for example, what's the number of the Lord? 777, right? 3 sevens. 3 is the number of creation, of life, right? So the Jews, right, and that's a whole nother story, Jews versus Hebrews. The Jews and Jewish numerology, their interpretation of that would be that by applying life and creation to spiritual introspection and the quest for wisdom, you can become at one with the Father. Now, you could go read the book of Micah, and it says, I will remove all the witchcraft from you, and I will do away with all of your fortune tellers. And yeah. So I'm not saying you should be a numerologist, and I'm not saying you should give any weight to Jewish numerology. I am just simply informing you as to the mindset of some of the people who were trained up in this word and how they interpreted things like the number 7. Let's not fight. Let's just be friends. It's amazing to me how many people want to, in all things, but especially in Christendom, do battle, verbally or otherwise, over the smallest things. I think, for me, what's the barrier to entry? Do you believe that Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ, is your Lord and Savior? Do you believe on his name? Are you washed in the blood of his sacrifice, his atonement? Cool. Next. I think the next step there is, are you keeping his commandments to the best of your ability? And we can go on 46,000 different tangents about what that looks like. Keeping his commandments, New Testament, Old Testament, fusion of the two, blah, blah, blah. But if you've got the first thing and you're working on the second thing, from there, who am I to judge? If you're convicted to keep the Torah, I'm happy to talk to you about it. But it is not my conviction to beat you over the head with a sledgehammer until you do keep the Torah. That would never work. So I just find it incredible how many people make it their business to try and beat each other over the head with the word of the Father. I made a comment one time that this is not a weapon, it's a tool for healing. And completely out of context, I got a response that it is a weapon. It's a weapon to be used in spiritual warfare. And yeah, context matters, dude. Okay, the diatribes are over. 7 clean beasts, 2 unclean beasts. And the birds of the heavens, 7 pairs, male and female, to keep offspring alive on the face of all the earth. For after 7 more days I am sending the rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and shall wipe from the face of the earth all that stand that I created. All that stand that I created. Well, what's up with the number 40? There's lots of interpretations there. 4 is considered to be like the worst number you can have, because 2 can be considered a very evil number. And 4 is both 2 times 2 and 2 plus 2 are both 4. So 4, times 10, 40 is what it is. Maybe it's something, maybe it's nothing. Moving on. And Noah did according to all that Yahweh commanded him. We could camp right there at 7:5. I could talk for an hour on that. And Noah did according to all that Yahweh commanded him. He did it. It doesn't say, and Noah thought about it for a while, and it felt okay with him, so then he did it. It doesn't say that Noah talked with his buddies about it, and they came to a consensus, and they all agreed that, yeah, that probably sounds like a good idea. You should do it. It doesn't say Noah tried it on for size, and he realized after a month or so that this wasn't for him, and then he didn't do it. And Noah did according to all that Yahweh commanded him. The end. There's a lesson right there for us. And Noah did according to all that Yahweh commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters were on the earth. And Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives went into the ark because of the waters of the flood. So Noah, his wife, his sons, their wives. So there's some generation here, okay, which we'll see as we go on. Don't uncover the nakedness of your father, especially you, Palmetto. Put your clothes back on. All right. Of the clean beasts, and of the beasts that are unclean, and of the birds, and of all that creep on the earth, 2 by 2, they went into the ark to Noah, male and female, as Elohim commanded Noah. We talked about Elohim, the plurality there. Had a guy just tell me, there is no Holy Trinity. You know what? Maybe there isn't. I don't know. I do know that the Father says, Echad, right? Deuteronomy 6:4. Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh is our God. Yahweh is one, Echad. We do know that Yeshua says, I and the Father are one, Echad. We do know that Yeshua says, I gotta go, but don't worry, because in 50 days, I'm going to give you the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh. I could be wrong. You could be wrong. Why the contention, brother? Let us not strive and fight. Let's just love the Lord with all we got and love our neighbor as ourselves, and the rest will work itself out. Okay. Elohim commanded Noah, and it came to be after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on earth, and in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second new moon, aka the second month, on the 17th day of the new moon, on that day, all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of the heavens were opened. And the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And on that day, that same day, Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth. We're going to call him Yep. Noah and Shem and Ham and Yep, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife and the 3 wives of his sons with them, went into the ark. They and every life form after its kind, and every beast after its kind, and every creeping creature that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird of every sort. There's a squirrel over there. Welcome to the fellowship, brother squirrel. Sit down, take notes. And they went into the ark to Noah, 2 by 2, of all flesh in which there is the breath of life. And those going in, male and female, of all flesh, went in as Elohim had commanded him, and Yahweh shut him in. By the way, I don't know if y'all do or not. Let me know down in the comments. But I would love it if, when we do this, if y'all had your Bibles out and you're reading along as we go. Because if you pick out something else, you could say, in 7:14, I got this nugget out of it, and that will help strengthen us as a community. Because again, not Pastor T, Brother T. So I hope that y'all are reading along, and if you're not, I think you should be. So no judgment, just throwing that out there. Okay, and Yahweh shut him in. Boom, slaps the lid closed. And the flood was on the earth 40 days, and the waters increased and lifted up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. And the waters were mighty and greatly increased on the earth, and the ark moved about on the surface of the waters. And the waters were exceedingly mighty on the earth, and all the high mountains under all the heavens were covered. The waters became mighty 15 cubits upward, A cubit is 1.707 feet. So about 20 inches or so. So 15 times 20 would be 600 inches divided by 12. I'm sorry, 300 inches divided by 12. All right, so we're in the area of what? What's that? 25 feet? 25 feet. No big deal. No big deal. 25-foot waves. I watched this Alaskan fishing show, man. They had 50-foot waves out there. Cool. Cool story, dude. And the waters became mighty, 15 cubits upwards, and the mountains were covered, and all flesh died. The creeping creature on the earth, birds and cattle and beasts and every swarming creature that swarms on the earth, and all mankind, and all flesh died. There's a lot that comes to me right there. One is the overly abused, in my opinion, in churchianity phrase, you must die to the flesh, brother. Yeah. I think you should die to your worldly sins. By that I mean be dead to those worldly sins. Stop doing them. That person that you were, you should be made new in the blood of Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. You should be made new. You should be renewed and restored. You should be a better version of you because of your faith, because of your obedience to the Most High. You should get better. And all flesh died. But here we are on earth. The meat world, as Pastor Joe calls it, M-E-A-T. This, right? We're all made of flesh. We have this flesh vessel that's indwelt with a spiritual spark direct from the Father. And I think about that sometimes when it says we're fearfully and wonderfully created in the image of our Father. I wonder if it's that spark that they're talking about more so than this. Because if this is what God looks like, sorry, bro. I apologize. Everybody's standing in line. They get through the gates and they're like, it's here. Whoa, this is not what we signed up for. Nobody told me that Yahweh was furry. I'm out. Hello, other brother squirrel. They're knocking the pine cones out of the tree so they can pull the pine nuts out of the pine cones. Smart little creatures. But we have this temporal body, right? It's the temple for our spiritual self, our better half that comes straight from the Father, right? And all flesh died. All in whose nostrils was the breath of the Spirit of life, all that was on the dry land died. Man, we see this story over and over again. Get right or get wiped out. Get right or get wiped out. Do the Father's will or get wiped off the face of the earth. Right? This is the biblical roller coaster that we're on. Oh, everything's great. Oh, we messed up. Okay, wipe them out. Oh, everything's great. Oh, we messed up. We wipe them out. No, we're doing great. We're keeping the commands. Oh, destroy the temple. Oh, rebuild the temple. Oh, we lost the Ark of the Covenant. Oh, people, right? This is people. This is to one degree or another a story of people and how we, oh yeah, we're doing great. And then boom, we get knocked down 14 pegs. And you're like, okay, time to start climbing the ladder again. And you get up, 15 pegs. We made it 15 pegs. Okay, we're better off than we ever were. Boom, knocked back down again, usually by our own doing. All in whose nostrils was the breath of the Spirit of life, all that was on the dry land died. So he wiped off all that stand, which were on the face of ground, both man and beast, creeping creature, and bird of the heavens, and they were wiped off from the earth. And only Noah was left, and those with him in the ark. and the waters were mighty on the earth 150 days. 8. And Elohim remembered Noah, and all the beasts and all the cattle that were with him in the ark. And Elohim made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters subsided. And the fountains of the deep and the windows of the heavens were stopped, and the rains from the heavens was withheld. And the water receded steadily from the earth, and at the end of the 150 days the waters diminished. And in the 7th new moon, the 17th day of the new moon, okay, so 5 months, the ark rested on the mountain of Ararat, and the waters decreased steadily until the 10th new moon. And in the 10th new moon, on the 1st day of the new moon, the tops of the mountains became visible. And it came to be at the end of 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made. So, you need to compile a timeline here, because you know how, like, a lot of times our children's ministry version of, like, Bible teaching, 40 days and 40 nights, brother, Noah was in the ark. No, he was in the ark a lot longer than that. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. That's what it says, is it rained for 40 days. And the flood was on the earth 40 days, and the waters increased and lifted up the ark. It rained for 40 days. They went in on the 17th day of the 2nd month, okay? They landed on top of a mountain 3 months later, okay? 5 months later, 150 days, right? And then to the 10th month, we're in the 8th month, middle of the 8th month, and then on the new moon of the 10th month, on the 1st day, so 6 weeks later after that, did the tops of the mountains become visible. So they've been in this thing 6.5 months already. And it came to be at the end of 40 days. So now, another 40 days, okay? So we're pushing 7 3/4 months. Noah opened the window of the ark that he had made, and he sent out a raven. We all know this story. Which kept going out and turning back until the waters had dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove from him to see if the waters had receded from the face of the ground. But the dove found no resting place for its feet and returned into the ark to him. Let's try again. But the dove found no resting place for its feet and returned into the ark to him, for the waters were on the face of all the earth. So he put out his hand and took it and pulled it into the ark to himself. And he waited yet another 7 days, and again he sent the dove out from the ark, and the dove came to him in the evening, and see, a freshly plucked olive leaf was in its mouth, and Noah knew that the waters had receded from the earth. And he waited yet another 7 days, and sent out the dove, which did not return to him again. And it came to be in the 601st year, in the 1st month, 1st day of the new moon, that the waters were dried up from the earth. Okay, so 2nd month, halfway through. Okay, so 10.5 months, 9.5 months, 9.5 months, 9.5 months, this ordeal. Okay, it was not 40 days. It was 9.5 months from the time the flood started to the time that the waters dried up again. 9.5 months. As somebody whose land was just flooded for like a few days, dude. All right. So it's important to understand that timeline. Not 40 days and 40 nights. It rained 40 days and 40 nights. That was just the beginning of this ordeal that they were subjected to. An ordeal that they were subjected to because they were found righteous in the eyes of the Father. Remember that. We talked recently on the Wisdom live stream about how we are subjected to things like this. The struggle and strife of our temporal existence is ordained by the Father. Read the book of Job. If we are found righteous in his eyes, we are going to be picked to do his work. And doing his work is not an easy thing. It's not puppies and unicorns, man. It's struggle and strife and toil and heartache, but it's also redemption and love and spiritual fulfillment and a sense of purpose and leadership and compassion and empathy, right? It's all that. It is that roller coaster, because you can't appreciate up here without down here. When you're down here and you get back to up here, how glorious is it up here, right? So And that's part of that, here he goes again. As part of the conviction with Torah, is that everything for me, since I started keeping Torah, got more real. The bad stuff was real bad. The good stuff was real good. And I was flatlined as a Christian. I was flatlined. No progress. Just stagnant. And everybody knows, stagnant, there is no flat line. You're either going uphill or you're going downhill. If you're here, you're actually going downhill because you're burning time without getting better. You're burning time without getting better. That is our goal, right? I've said before, the goal is to get better. We should meet people where they are at. And Christianity, by and large, does a pretty good job of meeting people where they're at. But shame on us if we keep them there. And so what the Torah has done for me is painted lines on the battlefield of life, right? It's put lines on the map so I can navigate. It's like a football field without any lines on the field. You don't know where you're at. Well, you start painting lines, you get a pretty clear image of where you are, what direction you're supposed to be headed. Don't go that way. Don't go that way. I need to be down there at the end of the field. That's my goal. So it allows us to get better by knowing what we're doing wrong and knowing what we're supposed to do to be doing it right, to do it properly. So I found that, I didn't have that in mainstream Christianity. I had, an hour and a half at church and three key takeaways this week on how to be a better person, or how to trust in Jesus, or how to whatever, right? Same old tea, same old tea. Now, it got me to a point. It got me from where I was to where I needed to be. And then that church blew up. Struggle and strife and heartache. Do the will of the Father. What's next? As an apostate, I'm coming out of apostasy. I renew my commitment to Yahweh and to Yeshua. Renew that. Baptized again, the whole nine. A year later, church implodes. I was not a young believer. I was not a new believer. I was a made new believer returning from a decade of apostasy. And I'm like, what's next? Now what? And then I get Pastor Joe video. My up next suggested videos on YouTube doing dishes one night. Withdraw and prepare. And I'm listening. I'm like, who's this Yah guy? Oh, he means God. What's that? And the wheels start turning. I remember looking up going, what are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? And it's been real since then. Real good, real bad, but real. Like, I'm switched on. I'm alive. I'm like indwelt by the Ruach HaKodesh. Like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And everybody I meet who believes and thinks and feels and is convicted this way, they're doing it. They are engaged in the process of living. They are aware, consistently aware of where they are on the battlefield and what the Father's will is for their life. And if they're unsure, they seek guidance. They look for clarity. And I see that so much more in the Torah observant community than I do in the Christian community at large, because people are concerned about getting better. They're concerned about doing the Father's will for their life. They're not concerned about having an emotional connection with Jesus. They're not concerned about health and wealth prosperity gospel, which is completely extra biblical. Yeshua himself says, you will be persecuted in my name. He does not say, I need a $70 million jet so I can go do the work of the Father. So, huge tangent, not even sure how we got here. I hope that maybe speaks to one or more of you, but by doing the Father's will, right, these bad things are going to happen to us. But we need to understand that that's an ordained thing, right? This comes from the Father. I mean, even people say, well, the enemy's out to get you. The enemy is given dominion over this place for a time. It's not like he's just going to sneak one by God. Omniscient, omnipotent Yahweh, the creator of all things, the knower of all things, right? And you think like, oh, well, Satan's out to get me. Yeah. Well, you know, look, the Father knows what's going on, man. If you are in him, he is in you. He sees where you are on the battlefield. He's got you. So when you come up against struggle and strife and heartache and toil and friction, man, pray through it and meet that anxiety with action and go forth and do the Father's will. Just keep moving, right? Because it's ordained. You're where you're supposed to be. I'm where I'm supposed to be. Don't, woe is me, right? Job tried to get him, 3 times to rebuke the Father? 3 times? And he's like, no, man, screw you guys. Nope, ain't doing it. Ain't doing it. Because I'd rather lay here on the side of the road dying with nothing to my name, praising the Father and doing his will, than have all the crap that you have but be empty inside. And so there is reward in obedience. Temporal, physical reward. Look, my reward, part of my reward is right behind me. This, I have all of this. Through the blessing and provision of the Father. No other explanation for it. There's truly not, other than the blessing and provision of the Father. But I also have the reward of knowing here and here that when I come up against something, this crap's ordained. There is literally nothing that I can't handle. If I am in him and he is in me, what am I worried about? Nothing. Nothing. And even as I've said before, huge tangents, whatever. That's why y'all are here. And even as I've said before, my one weakness is my family. And even then, that's an emotional weakness. Because logically, mentally, and spiritually, I know what will be will be. It's the Father's will, not my will. So my only real exposure is the emotional, but those are my people, Yah. I love them. Be good to them, please. You know? That's it. It's my one exposure in life. And it's a selfish exposure. Because I know the Father is going to do what he's going to do. And I know my job, in part, is to be okay with that. And to embrace that. And let his will be done. Right? But they're my people and I love them. So I don't ever want anything bad to happen to them. So, where the heck were we? Shut up, T. Read the book. Yeah, roger that. 7 days, the dove, the moon, yada, 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 and 15. And Elohim spoke to Noah, saying, go out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons wives with you. Bring out with you every life form of all flesh that is with you, of birds, of cattle, of all creeping creatures, the creeping creatures on the earth, and let them teem on the earth. T-E-E-M, which just go out there and get busy, man. The bow chicka wow wows, right? Get out there and go team. Hey, honey, you're looking mighty good tonight. You want to go team? And bear and increase on the earth. And bear and increase on the earth. So Noah went out, and his sons and his wife's sons with him. Every beast, every creeping creature, and every bird, whatever creeps on the earth according to their kind, went out of the ark. And Noah built a slaughter place to Yahweh, and took of every clean beast and of every clean bird, and offered ascending offerings on the slaughter place. And Yahweh smelled a soothing fragrance. That has to be from the Father. Have you ever walked out in like your residential neighborhood and you just go, somebody's grilling a steak? You know what I mean? You could smell it on the wind. You're like, I smell a hardwood fire and beef fat. Where is it? Right? I like that is part of my mitochondrial DNA, right? And so I get it. I totally get it. And Yahweh smelled a soothing fragrance, and Yahweh said in his heart, never again shall I curse the ground because of man, although the inclination of man's heart is evil from his youth, and never again strike all living creatures as I have done, as long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer time and winter, and day and night shall not cease. That's the end of 8. Y'all want to plow 9? We're at 35 minutes. Do we do a short one, or do we go? I'm feeling it. We're going to go. Maybe, if you guys aren't, pause, come back. That's cool. Let's take a quick 15, everybody. Potty break, coffees, maybe a nice tea. You want lemon? Lemon? Have a chamomile. You should have a chamomile. Okay. And scene. I'll have a sip of coffee. Everybody refresh. Scratch your butt. What about those, plastic church seats that, when it's hot in the summertime and your butt sweats and they stick to them and you get up and it's like that sound that Velcro makes when you peel Velcro apart? That's cool. That's good stuff. And Elohim 9, Genesis 9. And Elohim blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, be fruitful and increase and fill the earth. Bow chicka wow wow. Get out there and team. And the fear of you and the dread of you is on every beast of the earth, every bird of the heavens, and on all that creeps on the ground, and on all the fish of the sea. Into your hand they have been giving. And the fear of you and the dread of you is on every beast of the earth. Some animals fear better than others. Pretty sure you're not going to walk up to a wild Kodiak bear and go, bear, lay down, roll over. Good bear, here's a treat. But I get what he's saying, right? I get what he's saying. Every creeping creature that lives is food for you. I have given you all as I gave the green plants. But do not eat the flesh with its life, its blood. So don't eat blood. But only your blood for your lives I require. From the hand of every beast I require, and from the hand of man. From the hand of every man's brother I require the life of man. Whoever sheds man's blood, by man his blood is shed, for in the image of Elohim he has made man. As for you, be fruitful and increase, bring forth teemingly in the earth and increase in it. Go out there and make nations. Get busy. Go team. Go team. I think a shirt idea just came to me, Lois. Hashtag go team, T-E-E-M. Go team. Love it. Okay. And Elohim spoke to Noah and to his sons with him, saying, and I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you. I establish my covenant with you. What's a covenant? It's a contract. You do your part, I'll do my part. The covenant was done away with, brother. That's cool. You keep doing that, and we'll talk about your spiritual fulfillment versus mine. Okay. I establish my covenant with you and with your seed and with every living being that is with you, of the birds, of the cattle, of every beast of the earth with you, and of all that go out of the ark, every beast of the earth. And I shall establish my covenant with you, and never again is all flesh cut off by the waters of the flood, and never again is there a flood to destroy the earth. And Elohim said, this is a sign of me with a covenant which I make between me and you and every living being that is with you for all generations to come. For all generations to come. Yeah, y'all are out there teeming, right? Enjoying the fruits of your loins, producing offspring. You have generations. For all generations to come. When that stops, this covenant stops. It has not stopped. And look at the backdoor clause the Father put in there. He made teaming fun. Y'all ain't going to stop doing it anytime soon. So the covenant is not going away anytime soon. I shall set my rainbow in the cloud, and it shall be for a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. And it shall be, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the rainbow shall be seen in the cloud. And I shall remember my covenant which is between me and you and every living being of all flesh, and never again let the waters become a flood to destroy all flesh. And the rainbow shall be in the cloud, and I shall see it to remember the everlasting covenant between Elohim and every living being of all flesh that is on the earth. And Elohim said to Noah, this is the sign of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth. And the sons of Noah went out of the ark, and were Shem, Ham, and Yap. And Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noah, and all the earth was overspread from them. Overspread from them. Bow chicka wow wow. There's a lot of that in the Old Testament. There's a lot of that in the Old Testament. And Noah, a man of the soil, began and planted a vineyard. And he drank of the wine, and he was drunk, and he became uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brothers outside. So Shem and Yap took a garment and laid it on both their shoulders, and went backwards and covered the nakedness of their father. But their faces were turned away, and they did not see their father's nakedness. And Noah awoke from his wine, and he knew what his younger son had done to him. And he said, cursed is Canaan, let him become a servant of servants to his brothers. And he said, blessed be Yahweh, the Elohim of Shem, and let Canaan become his servant. Let Elohim enlarge Yap, and let him dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan become his servant. So, I guess he's getting mad at his kids for gossiping. He's like, yo, dad's passed out drunk in the tent naked. And so the two older brothers, I'm guessing older brothers, are like, all right, we're going to need a piece of that tarp. Cut me off a corner of that tarp, throw it over their shoulder. They walk backwards, drop it over drunk, passed out dad, and walk back out again. Sounds like there's a prideful thing going on here. And let Canaan become his servant. 28. And Noah lived after the flood 350 years. So that'd be 950 years, because he was 600 years old when the flood started. So, see, it tells us right here. Funny how that works out. So all the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. That was Genesis 9. Cool story, bro. You know what, we're going to hold up there because we get into some genealogy after this, and I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of that stuff is like taking a rock to the face for me. I'm just like, the begats, oh my gosh, the begats. And then Chum begat Chabla, and Chabla begat Machalala, and Machalala begat Hamilula, and Hamilula begat Chabla, and Chabla begat blah blah blah. And it's like, I understand that stuff is important in Hebrew tradition, but I would be lying if I said that I just really enjoy reading it. So, alright, what did we learn today? Don't pass out drunk in your tent. And if you're going to pass out drunk in your tent, have some clothes on. And if you're going to pass out drunk in your tent and you don't have clothes on, somebody's probably going to throw a tarp over you, and you probably shouldn't wake up hungover and mad and be like, you're cursed, you're now his servant. We learned that righteousness can be ascribed to men because Noah was ascribed righteousness by the Father. Noah was seen as righteous by the Father. So, do away with that concept of no man was righteous but Jesus. Okay, well, the Bible tells us otherwise. Righteousness just means lawful, keeping the laws, right? The Father's laws, which further reinforces the concept that we discussed last week, that this law, this understanding of how we're supposed to live our lives to keep the Father happy and be in his will, predates Moses, right? Because Noah predates Moses, and yet Noah was found righteous in the eyes of God, of the Most High, Yah. So, and I got to tell you, sometimes that phrase comes out of my mouth and I say, hi, Yah, and I think, hi-yah! And I know, like, is that blasphemous? I don't think so. I just think that I'm an idiot. So, but the Most High looked upon Noah and said, I like what you're doing, kid. You're the only one that's got it going on earth. I'm going to preserve you as a remnant. Funny how that works. I'm going to preserve you as a remnant. And I'll take care of you and your people, but everybody else, you know, Mitzrayim, when the Hebrews are coming out of Mitzrayim, 600,000 men come out to make it to the promised land. So, that's something to consider, isn't it? There's always a remnant preserved, but it's not many of us. So, you might want to think about that. And I think that that's the Torah plays a portion in that, as far as I'm concerned. Let's go to 1199 right quick, because that's page 1199. You probably don't have page 1199, but you do have the book of Revelation of Jesus the Christ, 1199. Yehuda, Jude, no, not the book of Jude. Hezon, Revelation. Let's do some flipping. Where are we going, T? You know what? I'll tell you when we get there, because sometimes chapter and verse does not stay with me. This is super exciting, isn't it? 12. There we are. Revelation 12:17. That's what I thought, but I didn't want to misspeak. Okay, talking about the remnant. And the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to fight with the remnant of her seed. The woman is the church, right? The remnant of the church. The dragon, Satan, was PO'd at the remnant of the church, and he went to fight. The enemy is doing battle with the remnant of the church. Those guarding the commandments of Elohim and possessing the witness of Yeshua HaMashiach. The remnant, the last remaining piece of the church, is being attacked by the enemy. And you will know that last remaining piece, that remnant, because they are guarding the writings of Torah, the commandments of Elohim. What's Elohim? Yeshua, Yahweh, Ruach HaKodesh, and possess the witness of Yeshua HaMashiach. They are indwelt by the Spirit. They believe on the name of Yeshua. I didn't make that up. It's right here in the book, 12:17. Y'all can read it for yourselves. So, we know that this stuff is ordained. You have to do whatever you want to do. You need to understand that I view life through this lens. What's this? It says Genesis 7. That's where we're picking up this morning. You have to understand, man, stuff's going to happen. Little stuff and big stuff. And there's not a bit of it that isn't supposed to happen. And I hear all the time, God's got a plan for you. Yeah, he does. To love his son with everything you've got. To love him with everything you've got. To love your neighbor as yourself and to keep his commandments. God's plan for your life is probably the most, or one of the most abused phrases in all of churchianity and Christendom. The Father has a plan for your life, brother. This is a battle. No plan survives a battlefield. The plan doesn't matter. In combat, the plan doesn't matter. The tenets of the plan matter. How we are going to accomplish the big picture goals of what this plan encompasses matters. It does not matter that I go exactly this way, forward 50 yards, and then come from this position and fire 3 rounds. That doesn't matter. What matters is whatever it is over here that I'm firing 3 rounds at gets 3 rounds put in it. The plan matters less than the goal of the plan. So there's a plan for your life, brother. Yeah, if you're engaged on the battlefield, if you're out here doing it, following the tenets of the plan, not sitting around waiting, being dead level, even making no progress, actually retrograding and backsliding, because there is no stagnation. There's only getting better or getting worse. The plan doesn't matter. I take no comfort in the plan. I don't care about the plan. I don't want to even know the plan. I want to know the tenets of the plan. What are we trying to accomplish with the plan? What are the goals of the plan? These are the goals of the plan. The plan doesn't matter. I don't want to hear about God's plan for my life. I want to know about the Father's will for my life. And what do I do to enact that in my life to be of service to Him, the Most High? Because obedience brings blessing, brothers and sisters. And I am so blessed. I have more than a man like me deserves times 10. And the fact that there's a promise of even more, insane. I have everything that I need, most of what I want. I have lots of friends. I have lots of brothers. I have lots of sisters. I have an awesome family. I have land through the blessing and provision of the Father and through an act of otherworldly kindness by Grandma. I'm blessed. Truly blessed. And not just with the material things or the physical things, but with the spiritual and emotional things. I'm in a good place. And by me being in a good place, it helps me get you into a good place. And I do that by not being worried about what the plan is for my life, but by understanding that the plan doesn't matter. What the plan is supposed to accomplish matters. And when you know what the end goal is, and when you know how to walk out those goals, you can get there with or without the plan. Because no plan survives a battlefield. And we know, we just read in Revelation, this is a battle. The remnant of the church, us, will be under attack by the enemy, the Nahash, El Satan, whatever. Whatever that a-hole wants to call himself, I don't care. I'm not even a little bit worried about him. There will be spiritual attack on me, on you, on my family, on your family, on our assembly, on everybody we love and everything we hold dear. Fact. It will happen. But that quick, you can deal with it. I can deal with it. And because of that, the plan don't matter. Don't be married to the plan. Be married to the tenets of the plan. What is the tenets of the plan? It is Torah. So with that, I see my wife and my dog looking at me like, shalom and blessings, y'all. I love you guys. I hope this helps, and we'll talk soon. Hey, one more thing. I had the opportunity to meet several of you last weekend, and thank you for speaking life into me. I deeply appreciate it.